Couple of things that I want to read off here, some housekeeping items before we get Coach Pierce going. If you guys got a parking pass during football season this year, during our weekly press conferences, that'll be good for the Rosen lot for baseball season, so hold on to those. If you didn't receive one, let me know. We'll work on getting you guys a season parking pass for the Rosen lot. Same thing can be said for the credentials that you guys may or may not have received during the basketball season. If you got one, you're golden for baseball. If you didn't, let me know, and we'll get you squared away with a credential for baseball season. This year, a little bit different with the TV trucks. We're going to have you guys park on the slab near Mintz Field, which is what we kind of started doing at the end of last season. So if you guys were covering us at that point, it's just behind the outfield fence. You just drive back behind there. It's kind of by the Hack Shack, so you guys will be able to park out there. Radio, 88.3 FM WRBH is going to be our station again this year. All of our games, other than Alabama A&M, will be broadcast on that station. They'll also all be available on the All Access package on our website, as well as video from our home games, unless the games are nationally televised. Post-game interviews this season will take place on the field or in the dugout at the conclusion of each game, just like we did last year. Same thing can be said for practice. At the beginning of practice, or about 30 minutes prior to practice, we'll do interviews on the field. Just contact me if you guys want to talk with anybody before practice. And the last thing that I want to announce is, for everybody who's watching at home, is there are still a few seats available for Tulane Baseball's inaugural first pitch dinner on Tuesday, February 16th. Tickets can be purchased online at TulaneGreenWave.com. I'm going to announce our second-year head coach, David Pierce. We've got a nice panel of players up here. If anybody has any questions to ask them after Coach Pierce is done addressing you guys in his opening statement, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. And without further ado, we'll bring number 22 down here.
Thank you, Curtis. Also, I'd just like to thank quickly Troy Dannon for coming in and being our new leader. And so far has done an outstanding job in just creating the culture and creating unity within the department. So it's been real exciting. I'd also like to thank our support staff. First of all, like to thank Barbara Burt for all of her support, and then all of our support staff, including Todd Graffinini, Curtis Akey, Trace Guidry, Russ Buller, and Andy Massey. As always, I'd like to appreciate and thank our coaches who do a tremendous job day in and day out as position coaches, as things that they do just on a day-to-day basis that makes this thing click. And that is Sean Allen, Philip Miller, Phil Haig, and baseball ops Brian Meyer. Today is, the day, the optimism, the expectations, year two. I just don't think we can be more excited to get started. This team is ready to go. We have veteran leadership, and we're really looking forward to the process. The word optimism is a huge word for this team because we are older, and we talked about the leadership. The expectations that not only the players have put on themselves, but in the community, and that's a good thing. But I think we want to focus as a team much more on the process and how the day-to-day grind affects us and how we handle that, and the ups and downs and the adversities that we deal with throughout the course of a long season. Our roster is very interesting. It stays in coordination with our university. We represent 13 states on our roster, with Texas being the most of 10 players and Louisiana being 9. We have an older team. We have 5 redshirt seniors. We have 6 seniors. We have 4 redshirt juniors, 8 juniors, 3 redshirt sophomores, 1 redshirt freshman, no sophomores, and 10 freshmen. We have 11 right-handed pitchers, 4 to 5, depending on a two-way player, left-handed pitchers. We actually improved our left-handed hitting. We have 6 left-handed hitters, 14 right-handed hitters. So I think what you'll see is the diversity of our team, but the strength of our team is truly in numbers, and every one of these players bring a different strength. And I think you'll see us utilizing that much more this year. Year 2 is so much easier for us as a staff because a year ago our players had no idea what to expect from our coaching styles, our philosophies, our coverages, the things that we do, just in verbal calls. So those things have really, with an older group and a group that has ambition, the learning curve is really sped up, and that helps not only the young players but the new players. We have quite a few transfers that came in, and we have a big freshman group. The beautiful thing about the freshman group is that they're going to have the ability to play in spots because we have such a veteran team this year. How we handle everything, I think you'll be very impressed with the maturation of this program and with the players on the field. They're going to play with excitement, and they're going to play with energy, and they're going to play for each other. When you look at our team and we talk about these strengths, I just get into a little bit because I know the question's going to come, but role playing. We're going to have a starting lineup, but I think there's going to be so many different combinations that we can do this year. We have the ability to match up a little bit better in the bullpen with left-handers versus left-handed hitters and right-handed matchups as well. And you look at that, you look at a couple of guys that are left-handed in a Sam Yarnyeld, who's made just great strides, and then a new left-hander, Christian Coletti, a transfer. And then you match those up with some of our right-handed arms out of the bullpen. But I still think the strength of our pitching staff is the guys that we returned from last year. We played 60 games last year, and we returned 59 starts. And the one start that we don't return was a closing. Our closer actually started a midweek game because he needed to iron out a couple of things or just to get himself right. So we're going to be experienced on the mound. We're not an overpowering pitching staff. We have to pitch. We have to pitch 3-4 pitches. We have to pitch backwards, and we have to pitch a pitch ahead of hitters. And we have a saying with the staff is that we truly just would prefer not to give in to hitters, especially in situations. So, at times we'll let a guy, we'll actually walk a guy in a situation where we may be in a better matchup with the next guy. But with that being said, one of our goals this year is to not walk anybody, so we'll see how that works out. Our outfield can really run. We have returning players of Carthon, Brown, and Kaplan. And then we have 2 freshmen that I really think are going to insert and help us with Tyler Heinrichs, a right-handed hitter that helps some platooning and some balance. Kid's going to be a tremendous player. And then a young man by the name of Grant Witherspoon, who's kind of a swing player for us that can play outfield and also play first base. And then, of course, we have Jared Dehart, who's the transfer. This guy had a chance to play a lot. So there's 4 to 6 outfielders there that I think will get a tremendous amount of time. At first base, I think Hunter Williams has definitely proven that he's the front runner there. And not only that, Hunter Williams has he went out and stole 17 bases this past summer. He's telling me he's going to steal more bases than Stephen this year, so we'll see. He's got to get on more. He's got to get on base more than Stephen first. But he looks really polished at first base. But we also have the ability to use Lex coming off of a arm injury that we can use at first base as well as the Witherspoon kid. At second base, it's pretty interesting because Jake Wilsey is a plus defender and has really made huge strides offensively in the work that he's put in this past summer, and just a tremendous field rat that's always there in the cages and trying to get better. Worked very hard on his swing this fall. Has done really things that we expect from him. I think you're going to see a little bit more power in his swing and a lot more confident hitter. And then you have Shea, my son, that I think what he offers is some intangibles of being able to control the bat, advanced runners, slash, hit and run, and create some leadership from being a 22-year-old. And so I think those two can give us some great depth there at second base. At shortstop, I don't know who's going to play shortstop this year. I'm not real sure. Stefan's an All-American in 2 publications and well-deserved. And I think what I'm so impressed with Stefan right now is how he's approached the summer, the fall, and the excitement that he has for this team. And he's showing great leadership, and that's what we really need from that position. And Hunter Hope may be the best fielding defender in the country at third base. And he's a kid that gets overlooked. He's quiet. He's very physical. Hunter's got an opportunity to hit the ball with power, but he's just a great defender, and he's going to be a plus this year. Behind the plate, we have the best 3 catchers in one group that I've ever had, and that's with Jake Rogers, who is, in my opinion, the best catch and throw guy in the country, and I have some bias, I understand that, but his numbers also prove that in the last 2 years. And then we have Jeremy Montalbano, who's a great number 2 that also is a plus hitter. Will spend a lot of time DHing for us. So those 2 guys are solid. Can't ever forget about Cameron Burns, who got early in the year every Sunday for us. He's a great defensive catcher, has the intangibles of being the type of player that you can insert without worrying about burning a DH or maybe taxing your starter. So we have great options behind the plate as well. Starting pitching, I think we'll just lean really hard on the top 5 or 6 guys that were our strength last year, and that's Corey Merrill, Alex Massey, Emerson Gibbs, Patrick Deuster, and Tim Yandel. And then we've got some help coming with J.P. France, who his arm seems to be coming back, doing very well. And little Massey, Ross Massey, a left-hander that's got a chance to start some games for us. I think we have the ability to stack some starts. In other words, a starter gives us 4 or 5 innings. We may go to a second-type starter and then see who's going to finish it on the back end. The back end is interesting because we have some power arms in Trevor Sims, the kicker, and a kid by the name of Chris Oakley, but we've got to get them seasoned. They haven't pitched a lot, so they have stuff, but they still have they're still lacking in command. So we're going to have to ease them in, and then we have potentially our best reliever from last year, Daniel Rankin, late in the year. So we get those guys going, and I think we're going to have a very solid pitching staff. I'll kind of open it up. I know I've answered a lot, probably a lot of your questions, but just moving into the schedule and things like that, I'll open it up. The other thing I would mention is that the strength of this team is definitely the team itself, our numbers. That is our strength, and I think we have a very solid defensive team. I think we're going to be a very productive offensive team. But the strength of our team is the combinations that we have. My job is to make sure that we have the right guys on the field at the right time. And we can only put 9 on the field. We can only DH 1 and pitch 1. So we have great combinations and some great options.
Anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you.
Lex, when you got hurt in the summer, were you confident that you'd be back this year, and how happy are you with the rehabilitation process, and how excited are you that you're not going to have to take a redshirt year?
I was very confident that I'd be coming back, and I worked hard, and I'm really excited for this year and what the team, what I've seen out of the team, and I think it's going to be a big year for us.
Guys, if they ask you guys questions, pull those microphones closer to them.
Coach, you mentioned you're not certain at the closer role yet. How have they done in the first couple of weeks of practice? And you mentioned maybe some control issues still. Do you feel pretty confident that that's going to be worked out, or is that your biggest concern going into the year?
Well, I just think the lack of experience, and we can overcome that with some areas because we can insert them in potentially positions to give them a chance to succeed. Because I'm not afraid to put one of these other guys in the back end either. J.P. France is a great example. He's kind of a swing guy right now, for the simple fact that he's coming off of injury. He's doing really well and recovering well right now. But I wouldn't have a problem putting Patrick in the back end either. He's been there before.
And how important is it to have Lex back? Because I know that wasn't a certainty when he first got hurt in the summer.
I'll tell you in about 5 months.
Coach, knowing all the guys that you have back this year and the quality of your team, is there more pressure to produce in a year like this when people expect a lot of big things for you? And as you move along in the process, how do you coach that?
Truly, we don't coach it any different. I mean, I think me, the staff, and I feel the players, I think we put pressure on ourselves every day to perform. And I don't think there can be exterior pressures that are going to create more pressure. It's just what we do. We have to understand that there's a grind, and we're going to drop a game here and there, and we have to have the ability to recover from that, as well as if we're playing well and we're on a streak, we have to be mature about that. So I think it's just, the game of baseball is so different than basketball, football, where you play 1 or 2 games a week. You have to be able to bounce back. We have a saying that, we got to win on Sundays. It's important that we win on Sundays because that's a rubber match many times, and it potentially gives you an opportunity to sweep, win a series, or prevent from being swept. And those preventions are big games, just to bounce back and get ourselves back to Tuesday. So I don't think there's more pressure. I think the team's going to put enough pressure on themselves.
Coach, you touched on it a little bit, but could you expand on the comfort level being year 2 here at Tulane?
I think it's huge, and I think it's probably more comfort for the players than us. Maybe we can get one of them to answer that. Steph, why don't you answer that?
Just having them around for the second year, it's easier for us as the guys. We know their philosophy as coaches. We know how they run things, so it's easier for us to adapt and being able to show the younger guys this is how things are run here. So it's just, last year we didn't know what we was having, having new coaches, we didn't know what was coming in, but just having them the second year, it's easier for us to pass it on to the younger guys, and it's like second nature to us now.
Anybody else?
You got to ask every guy at least one question, even if Joe Calla asks.
Joe, don't let us down. I appreciate you guys coming out. We'll have practice at 1:30, and if you guys want to come out there and get some B-roll. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you guys want to grab some of these guys before they head back over there, yeah, feel free to.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,